Man, what is going on, people? It's been a while since I've been serious with you. So we got a personalizer marking kit made by Electro-Etch Incorporated from Bree, California. Um, this machine belongs to Jed Hornbeak. He used to use it before he got his laser etcher. If you hear fans in the background, I am sorry. Dog's been kind of in and out, but he used this etcher to put this logo on the knife. Now he uses a laser engraver, which is much more professional looking and stuff like that. But my cousin was kind enough to, I don't even know if you can see all this stuff, to make me some stencils off of her Cricut. And so today, not really a how-to video, just kind of a, if you keep up with the channel, this is going to be a pry bar, and I've got a few of them that are waiting for me to build to go out to people. So I'm going to try to engrave this the electro way, like you're going to dip it in this solution. It's like some sort of electrolyte, and there's too much of that stuff in there. But what you do is you hook the hot, directly to the metal. So I left a little bit of tape exposed on both sides so to have a contact to the metal. And then you dip this in here, and he's got it marked 5 seconds at 15 for the etch, and 5 seconds times 3 on mark. And I believe what mark does is it like pushes the power up to like 12 amps, if I'm not mistaken. So without further ado, I'm going to untangle these wires, and we're going to give it a shot. Maybe the wires aren't untangled. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. So before, this thing is coming loose, or it feels like it's coming loose. All right, before I turn it on, I'm going to go ahead and get some electrolyte on the tip. You don't want it soaking, so you kind of want to squeeze out the excess, but you don't want to it needs to be wet, not damp. But like I said, it's really not a how-to video. This is going to be my first attempts. It might be a how not to video. I don't know. Let's give it a shot. I'm gonna try it on this first, and then I'm gonna move to this knife. If it works, we'll see. I'll make the video as quick as possible too. I know these videos ain't very, they're not very entertaining. I'm rocking it back and forth because my logo is a little wider. Sure, that thing is. I've seen some people slide it up. I don't think this logo is going to be, I think I'll mess up the print, like the sticker. So these stickers were made on Cricut. And they are vinyl. They have a lot of, I'm not supposed to wait till this thing heats up. I thought you'd be able to hear it. But anyway, these stencils, it's like vinyl stencil paper, I think, or something like that. And I have no idea if I'm doing it right, honestly. But according to the videos that I've watched, this is kind of how it goes. I asked Jed if he wanted to sell it. He was like, "No, man. If I ever need it back, I'll let you know." But honestly, if that laser engraver goes out tomorrow, I'm going to buy another one. He said, I hate this method. He said, it is a method, but I'm not a big fan. I was like, respect, I get it. They said, you can use it until I need it. I can't hear anything, so I'm not sure if it's working. I see some bubbles, but I'm not sure. Like, would I see bubbles anyway? I'm gonna dip it again. Let's count to 15 this time. 1, 2. I've already passed 15. I'm just kind of trying to let it sit in one spot. I have a feeling that something might not be right. It is blacker than this, so it may be doing something. Like, you know, I don't know if you can see that with the camera. Sorry if not, but I started off like this was a semi-finished, you know, to 60 grit surface. I'm hearing nothing though. But man, I've got that 5 times 15, right? You know, so I think we can go to the etch, or the mark, I'm sorry. So let's power it off, and then we'll switch it to mark. I think this is the big money. I can feel the machine doing something. You're supposed to be able to hear it. I may have to disconnect that, see what's going on. It's bubbling, so we do have some sort of reaction. It's definitely bubbling. Man. So I think we got our time in. But I hear nothing. Nothing. All right. Well, listen, there's only one thing we can really do. I'm going to power it back off. We'll unplug it. Set this to the side. Disconnect this. All right, let's uncover it, man. See what happens. You see what I'm saying about the black though? Like this was a shiny piece of steel. Like I'll show you. Like semi-finished, not finished, but semi-finished piece of steel. Not this side, obviously. Okay. Here we go, man. Here may go nothing. Bro, that is in there. With some tweezers. I had to place this thing in here. Oh, yeah. That worked. I didn't hear anything. Like, so that might be my hearing, man. But let me dry this off on something. What better than the blue jeans? So we got a little bit of bleed over. That's kind of cool. Not perfect. Definitely not perfect. It's going to require some practice and some perfecting, you know, like, but definitely not bad. But this should be in there deep enough. I can't really feel it. So it might not have done as much as I think it did. Of course, like I said, yeah, you can feel jeds in there. Like, it's really etched. So, yeah, I'll just have to practice. I'll have to practice. Let's try it again. This time, I'm really going to just focus on my signature over here. We're going to plug this thing back up. Power is off. And we'll put the hot right about right here on the spine. Maybe, no. Let's put it on the edge then. And this is just a practice knife, man. I've got some practice knives around. I will use the knife eventually. I'll finish the knife, but it won't ever be anything I'll ever sell, simply because it ain't nice, man. It ain't as nice as I would like it to be to put my name on. Speaking of that, you know, like if you happen to be watching, I'm not very creative when it comes to logos, but my granddad used to have this saying. He was like, you know, he made stuff. My dad used to say it too. Like he, it's a better example, I guess, really, is my dad. He was pretty good with woodwork. And like there was a university that it was pretty close to that had a disabled art class. And they needed some easels made for some wheelchair that would be wheelchair accessible. So my dad designed some and took them up to the university, and they wound up picking up some. And this isn't the one of the differences on this was like a finished surface, and this really isn't. So I don't know what to expect out of that either. But my dad went to okay, we're gonna change it back to H. It's still kind of wet, but let's let it run for a second. Anyway, he put you know, he made those easels, and I asked him, I was like, well, you know, I didn't actually see one before he took them up there. I said, how'd they turn out? And he was like, well, they were good enough to put my name on, you know. And like, so I just kind of stuck with me, you know, like This isn't the signature that the bank has or anything. Like I had to write my name out, several times in order to come up with something that I thought looked halfway decent, but also like not my real signature. But I guess my thing is like we're sticking my name on a knife that I'll never sell. But this is practice, right? But I figure if it's good, if your product is good, then you should be proud enough to put your name on it. And that's what a logo or a mark is. All right. Let's just go. Just going to focus on the signature. I'm going to hold that down for 15 seconds. I'm going to do the Tennessee USA too, but it's going to be like, I'm not going to move it around as much. Just want to see what happens. Okay. And then I'll move down here. Feel free to fast forward if you're still watching. See how it turns out. It's fine. I don't make these videos to make you suffer. Sometimes it's just a side effect. It's free. It comes along with the package. Speaking of which, I got a really cool comment earlier. I think I'm gonna start doing a comment of the month or something. That's about how often I come out with a video now, right? But this guy was on the Henry video. He said, dude needs a lot more experience with guns and life before he opens his pie hole. Like you want me to rustle cattle? Force law. That do it for you? Dip it a little bit more. There's all kinds of different kind of electrolytes, and initially I was going to use a battery charger. And that's going to go back to that video that you saw earlier, whenever I was destroying that battery charger with the Louisville Slugger. You got to have an analog battery charger that doesn't have the safety feature in it that won't allow it to turn on if it's not registering that a battery has at least 6 amps. So like if I'm connecting it to a knife such as this, there won't be any amperage, so it won't turn on. Now that battery charger wasn't going to work as a battery charger anymore either. It charged a couple of batteries a couple of years ago, and it was not working at all for anything. So then again, we really didn't have a battery that was dead to check it with, but it wasn't like giving us the error code wasn't going away when we connected it to a live battery either. I wonder how many are you supposed to like chill for a few seconds in between? I don't know. Any of y'all ever done this? Any of you have any experience with this machine? You see me doing anything wrong that you'd like to tell me about? Please let me know. Honestly, at this point, I got a quote from a company, Buckeye, in Ohio, for a code stamp, and I may go that route, but the only thing that's holding me back is they couldn't show me what it was going to look like before I purchased it. Like they couldn't show me like a digital copy of what they come up with. Same thing, man. It's just going to be my signature, and they told me how long it was going to be and this and that. And then like you kind of need a what do they call it, dude? Like something to keep the stamp stable while you're getting ready to strike it with a hammer. And they don't sell those. They said those are all like made by their like that's secondary stuff, like that's made by the customers that pick them up. So I was trying to figure out how to make a God, like a die in a way. I'm blanking out, y'all. But I was trying to figure out how to make one of those, and I run across this method of putting your logo on your knife, and I was like, man, that might be cheaper. Cricuts are pretty cheap. This paper's pretty cheap. My cousin already has a Cricut machine, and she does tumblers and stuff like that. So I asked her, I was like, hey, make me some stencils. We'll make some money. And she gave me a few to try out to see if they work. So this is kind of the test run for that. Well, this video is gonna be long, man. I think I'm going way over 15 seconds or whatever. Oh, it's supposed to be 5 seconds. And 15 times. Okay. I screwed that up. We'll move down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is nuts. I'm not seeing much change up underneath, but maybe I'm holding it on there a little too long. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more. Can I touch that? There's nothing. I don't know how that works. It shot me. Unnecessarily long video. If you watch it, it's because you love me. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think about the logo. Might take a page out of Hornbeck's book and come up with some sort of animal skull. I like his crow skull. Like, he's actually got that crow skull, by the way. It's in his shop. Like, I think you can see it on DeMarco's video with him. Like, he's got it sitting around somewhere inside the shop. So I wasn't exactly sure what it was. I was like, what is that thing? And he was like, that's a crow skull. I was like, dude, is that the thing on your logo? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. Totally screwed this thing up. Like, as far as the 5 versus 15 seconds and all that stuff. 5 seconds times 3 on mark. Okay. I know you're supposed to be able to hear this thing. I'm going to switch it to Mark. Oh, I felt something. Yeah, it's running in high gear now. Let's give it a second. I'm going to let it do its thing. 5 seconds times 3. And this should be over with. That's 15 seconds, so it'll take another 20 minutes for video. Oh, it's reacting. That's 5 times 3 right there, buddy. Okay. So we marked it properly. Power it off. Unplug it. All right. Let's see what we got going on. I think I can already tell it's not going to be as dark. It's all good. It's all good. definitely not as dark. But like the steel wasn't as prepped either. And like this is, you know, somewhat why I went ahead and done this. 'Cause, you know, he told me, he said if you tumble it, if you do anything like that afterwards, you're gonna kind of mess it up. So you'll have to go back and do it again. I tell you what though, it's etched better. Like I can feel the etch. So it is etched better. So this is ADC RV2, pry bar's 5160. Yeah, like I can feel that. Is that a figment of my imagination? It's not as deep as Jed's. Faux show. Okay. Anyway, that's that, man. Like it's in there, and that's not, you know, I have to sand over that anyway. So like this probably have to be redone. But this is just a test, like a testing thing, and I'll double check with him, make sure there wasn't anything else I was supposed to be doing crazy. Or if you're experienced in the field, let me know. I mean, I know for a fact that you're supposed to prep the metal. Like, you know, this should be one of the last steps that you do. You guys have a great one. We'll catch you on the flip side.